JAG is an American legal drama television show with a distinct U.S. Navy theme, created by Donald P. Bellisario, and produced by Bellisario Productions in association with Paramount Network Television. The first season was co-produced with NBC Productions. Originally perceived as a Top Gun meets A Few Good Men hybrid series, the pilot episode of JAG first aired on NBC on September 23, 1995, but the series was later cancelled on May 22, 1996, after finishing 79th in the ratings, leaving one episode unaired. Rival network CBS picked up the series for a mid-season replacement, beginning on January 3, 1997. For several seasons, JAG climbed in the ratings and was on the air for 9 additional seasons. JAG furthermore spawned a hit series NCIS, which in turn spun off NCIS Los Angeles and NCIS New Orleans. In total, 227 episodes were produced over 10 seasons. At the time of the original airing of its 5th season in the United States, JAG was seen in over 90 countries worldwide. JAG entered syndication early in 1999. Premise: dramatic, action-adventure programming has all but disappeared from the airwaves. I don't do sitcoms, I don't do urban neurotic dramas. I created JAG because it's the kind of television I like to watch. Besides that, I served 4 years in the Marine Corps and remain fascinated by the military's code of ethics, God, duty, honor, country, and how, in these rapidly changing times, it still survives. That's what Harm and Mac, and JAG as a whole, represent. Donald P. Bellisario on creating JAG. The series follows the exploits of the Washington metropolitan area-based judge advocates in the Department of the Navy's Office of the Judge Advocate General, who in the line of duty can prosecute and defend criminal cases under the jurisdiction of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, conducting informal and formal investigations, advising on military operational law and other associated duties, akin to Law and Order. The plots from many episodes were often ripped from the headlines, with portions of the plot either resembling or referencing recognizable aspects of actual cases or incidents, such as the Uskall bombing, the rescue of downed pilot Scott O'Grady, the Cavaliers cable car disaster, the Iowa turret explosion, and the Kelly Flynn incident. While not part of the mission of its real-world counterpart, some of the main characters are at times also involved, directly and indirectly, in various CIA intelligence operations, often revolving around a recurring character, CIA Officer Clayton Webb. Cast and character overview. Starring roles: Harm and his partners David James Elliott as LT, LCDR, CDR, Captain Harmon, Harm, Rab, Jr., JAGC, USN, a judge advocate with a background in aviation. He is a skilled lawyer, and an even better investigator. He is stationed out of Falls Church, VA. Catherine Bell as Marge, LTCOL Sarah, Mac, Mackenzie, JAGC, USMC, Harm's longtime partner, who, until the series finale, was sired to him by 2 months. Unlike Harm, she joined the military to be a JAG. She's the chief of staff at JAG's Falls Church, VA, headquarters. Tracy Needham as LTJG Meg Austin, JAGC, USN, Harm's second partner and Mac's immediate predecessor. She was his junior officer, and still had a lot to learn about the law. Upon transferring out of JAG, she recommended Bud as a new hire. Andrea Parker as LTJG, CDR Caitlin Pike, JAGC, USN, Harm's first partner who appeared 4 season 1 episodes and 1 season 6 episode. On the military fast track, Caitlin was a skilled litigator. Other main cast members: John M. Jackson played RADMAJ. JAG Whidden, Judge Advocate General of the U.S. Navy, coming in as a mid-season replacement during Season 1 and remaining until the end of Season 9. JAG Whidden is both a former SEAL and a former surface warfare officer, having commanded a destroyer before becoming a judge advocate. Other cast members included LCDR Bud Roberts, first a public affairs officer on the aircraft carrier US Seahawk, then transferred to JAG, studying law at night. Later, after finishing his bar examination, he became a junior judge advocate at JAG. While on an assignment to the Seahawk, he met his future wife, LT Harriet Sims, played by Carrie Turner, who would eventually come to be the administrative aide, who held the office together. Bud's clumsiness, both physical and verbal, and geeky interests, together with his wife's maternal nature, were frequent sources of comic relief. His clumsiness was played down as the series went on. Bud lost the lower half of his right leg in Afghanistan in the last episode of Season 7, while attempting the heroic rescue of an Afghan boy playing in a minefield. For his actions, he received the Purple Heart, and later was able to return to limited active duty with a prosthetic leg. For all, he was comic relief much of the time. The esteem in which he is held is reflected when Admiral JAG Whidden went to the mat with the Bureau of Personnel and the Secretary of the Navy to get Bud promoted and retained on active duty when they wanted to medically discharge him after he lost his leg. Scott Lawrence played CDR Sturgis Turner from 2001 to 2005, an Academy classmate of Harms. Originally assigned to the submarine service before becoming a JAG lawyer. Initially, Turner and Rabb are shown as friends, although Turner does seem to have difficulty fitting into the JAG culture. In the final season, Turner and Rabb have a falling out, occasionally exchanging heated words. Note: Captain Rabb was an aviator before becoming a judge advocate. During his tour with JAG HQ, he is allowed to maintain his pilot qualification through occasional flight training. CDR Turner has a submariner background. At the start of Season 10, CDR Turner was the acting JAG. Initially an electronics technician, Petty Officer Coates changed her occupational rating to legalman. Recurring roles: Trevor Goddard played Royal Australian Navy Lieutenant Commander Mike Brumby from 1998 to 2001. Originally an exchange officer during Season 4, Brumby was at one point engaged to Sarah Mackenzie. After Goddard's death in 2003, the series paid tribute to him by reshowing a scene from an episode where the cast and crew sang Waltzing Matilda, an Australian folk song, as Brumby was leaving a bar where a going-away party for him was taking place. Nancy Chambers, real-life wife of David James Elliott, played LT Loren Singer. Singer was consumed by her continual want to further her career at the expense of those around her. She often clashed with the other characters. In Season 7's Guilt, Singer hurt Harriet by using the death of her baby Sarah to discredit her testimony in court. In a later episode, however, Harriet got a measure of revenge by punching out Singer. Singer was murdered, with suspicion falling on Harm, who was eventually cleared. Production, background and development: the creator of JAG, Donald P. Belisario, served for 4 years in the U.S. Marine Corps, and after having worked his way up through advertising jobs, he landed his first network television job as a story editor for the World War II-era series Bar Black Sheep, where he got a habit of promoting a consistent pro-military stance in a business where he got the perception that anti-war and anti-soldier mentality were the commonplace. The stereotype in the post-Vietnam War era of crazed Vietnam veterans was notably subverted by not just one, but 3 of the main characters in Magnum P.I., of which Belisario was the co-creator. Following the cancellation of his series Quantum Leap, Belisario began working on a one-shot screenplay of a murder mystery aboard a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, where the victim was a female aviator. The issue of whether or not to expand the options for women serving in the U.S. Armed Forces as fighter pilots and in other frontline assignments was a contentious social issue of the day. In 1991, a famous incident had occurred at the Tailhook Association convention in Las Vegas, where male naval aviators had behaved in manners inappropriate, if not criminal, and where the follow-up criminal and other investigations by the then-named NIS, the Naval Inspector General, and the Judge Advocate General of the Navy, were later heavily criticized by the Office of the Inspector General of the Department of Defense, with the concurrence to Acting Secretary of the Navy Sean O'Keefe, to whom the report was delivered and who began to take corrective action with respect to both the perceived attitude problems towards women and the functions of the investigative arms of the Department of the Navy. The fallout from the incident resulted in a hard blow to the naval aviation community, where the promotions of many naval aviators were put on hold. The common counterclaim from the other side of the aisle, as articulated by former Secretary of the Navy in the Reagan administration and Naval Flight Officer John F. Lehman, was that the naval aviation community had been unfairly subjected to a witch hunt motivated by political correctness, in effect killing its esprit de corps, and by extension damaging its combat effectiveness. During the Clinton administration in April 1993, Secretary of Defense Les Aspin announced a new policy, which in effect made it possible to have female fighter pilots serving on aircraft carriers at sea and in other new positions. Thus, the stage was set for the reality-based fictional drama. When Belisario read in a newspaper about the forthcoming introduction of female fighter pilots on aircraft carriers, while doing research on which organizational entities would partake in investigative efforts of crimes committed aboard naval vessels, Belisario found the Special Agents of Naval Criminal Investigative Service filled the police role, and the uniformed lawyers in the Navy's Judge Advocate General's Corps could alternate between the role of defense attorney, prosecutor, and field investigator. Belisario chose to go ahead with the lawyers and remarked in JAG's sixth season about the unique advantages it brought from a storytelling point of view. Unlike most law shows, I've got a detective, a prosecutor and a defender. Collaboration with the military. Initially, the producers of JAG did not receive any cooperation from the Department of the Navy, due to sensitivity in light of all the accumulative negative publicity that had been generated from the Tailhook scandal and its aftermath. However, the lack of cooperation from the military was not a showstopper, as the JAG production team, by virtue of being a Paramount Pictures production, had access to the stock footage of the motion pictures owned by the studio, which included many films with military content, such as Top Gun, The Final Countdown, and The Hunt for Red October. In 1997, though, the naval services had begun to change their minds, and began to render support to the production team on a script-by-script basis. A primetime network series about Navy lawyers bringing out controversial subjects in a very public arena was apparently no longer an issue in itself. But as noted by Commander Bob Anderson of the Navy's Entertainment Media Liaison Office in Los Angeles in a TV Guide interview, "We're fine with that as long as the bad guys are caught and punished, and the institution of the Navy is not the bad guy." Nielsen Ratings Seasonal Rankings of JAG on NBC and CBS. Note: U.S. network television seasons generally start in late September and end in late May, which coincides with the completion of the May sweeps. Ships. Almost all episodes of the series feature scenes filmed aboard real United States Navy ships. The ship most widely used was the US Forrestal, in commission and as a training carrier at the time. Most of the Nimitz-class carriers also appear in one or several episodes. US Saratoga, US Enterprise, and US John F. Kennedy were also used in the series. US Enterprise was used as the fictional US Seahawk in many episodes. S. Forrestal and S. Dwight D. Eisenhower were also used as the fictional Seahawk, both in Season 4 and for one episode each. For scenes filmed aboard Enterprise, the whole crew wore caps reading US Seahawk, CVN 65, so they matched the ship's real hull number. S. Forrestal was featured in many episodes, most prominently two in which she portrayed the fictional US Reprisal. In these episodes, all crew members wore caps with the CV-35 pennant number. This number was intentionally out of sequence with the pennant numbers of active USN carriers at the time the series was filmed. CV-35 would have been the real pennant number of an Essex-class carrier actually called Reprisal, which was cancelled during construction in 1945 when World War II ended, and broken up in 1949 after consideration had been given to completing her to a revised design roughly similar to that of US Oriskany. Only 6 USN ships featured in the series were called by their real names: US Hornet, US Coral Sea, US Kitty Hawk, US America, US Theodore Roosevelt, and US Belknap. The Kitty Hawk is mentioned in one of the Season 3 episodes, but never seen on screen. The America is the murder scene in a Season 3 episode, but shots supposedly depicting her are in fact shots of the Forrestal. Real shots of the Roosevelt in harbor are used in one episode of Season 1. Season 3 opener, Ghost Ship, was filmed entirely aboard the Hornet while she was laid up at Alameda Naval Air Station before being preserved as a museum ship. Part of the storyline in Ghost Ship deals with the final fate of Hornet. It implies she was eventually scrapped due to severe fire damage sustained during the course of the episode, contrary to her real-life fate as a national landmark. The subplot in Ghost Ship, indicating that the ship's double hull had to be cut open from the inside to repair supposed damage to her bow during Vietnam, was not at all correct with her service record. Coral Sea is also featured in the Season 3 episode Vanished, and Season 4 episodes Angels 30 and Shakedown. As she had already been scrapped at the time the episodes supposedly took place, archival footage of Coral Sea was used, with other footage shot aboard Forrestal. The majority of the exterior scenes from Angels 30 were filmed aboard Forrestal and a few aboard Enterprise. Belknap is mentioned in the Season 4 episode Going After Francesca as the 6th Fleet flagship, a role she actually fulfilled in real life from 1986 until her decommissioning in 1994. Belknap had already been decommissioned and was laid up awaiting scrapping when the episode was filmed, allowing for actual exterior shots of the ship to be featured in the episode. The series also includes appearances by Tarawa-class amphibious assault ships, Ticonderoga-class cruisers, Arleigh-Burke-class destroyers itself during the opening credit montage, and Oliver Hazard Perry-class frigates. In one of the episodes, the Spanish frigate SPS Santa Maria is used to depict a fictional USN Perry-class ship. While most sea episodes are focused on aviation missions, several are based around submarine warfare, namely Episodes 1-3, 2-6, 4-16, 5-22, 6-15, 7-14, 7-24, 8-7, 8-17, and 9-7. Series end in February 2005. David James Elliott announced he would leave the show at the end of the 10th season to pursue other projects after not being offered a renewal for an 11th season from the producers. The show also introduced new younger characters, including former As the World Turns star Chris Beatem, and Jordana Spiro from The Huntress. The producers also considered relocating the fictional setting of the show, from Falls Church to Naval Base San Diego. An episode of the final season, JAG, San Diego, had the main cast, excluding Harm, going to the San Diego Naval Base and working with the local JAG office there, though it was reportedly considered as a pilot episode, as a reformat of the show aiming for a younger audience. CBS ultimately decided not to pursue a new series. Nevertheless, CBS announced the cancellation of the show on April 4, 2005, after 10 seasons. The final episode, Fair Winds and Following Seas, aired on April 29, 2005, and in which Harm and Mac are assigned different stations. Harm in London, Mac in San Diego. They finally confront their feelings and decide to get married. The episode ends with Bud tossing a challenge coin to decide which one would give up his or her military career to be with the other. However, in keeping with JAG tradition, the outcome of the toss is never seen, as the screen fades to black, showing only the coin, which bears the inscription, 1995 to 2005, the years the series spanned.